Yes, it's amazing to have my next interviewee introducing my next guest. With pleasure, as always, we have TESIA May joining me on my radio show, podcasts, and programs. Welcome to the show, TESIA. How are you today?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me.
Great to have you on board. Where are you right now in the world?
I am actually in the United States in Indiana.
Great, fantastic. And firstly, can you just tell me and my listeners how long you have been like performing music for and recording music as well?
So I have been singing since I was old enough to really talk or to hum a tune. But I just recently started recording within the past 5 years my original music. So kind of a shorter time frame for my originals, but I've been singing basically my whole life.
That's good. And do you do a little bit of dancing when you're on stage as well, or is it just more vocals you concentrate on?
I am working more on my stage presence dancing. I actually cheered for a lot of my life, so I have it in me. It's just a matter of working on it and getting it out there on the stage.
Yeah, because I listened to a few of your tracks and they do kind of make you want to bop a bit,
Right. Yeah.
jive. And my next question for you, what instruments do you play, if you do, like when you're creating music and recording?
So I started dabbling in piano lessons. I have not finished those. I've kind of taken a break. So currently, I really only play the tambourine when I do live music with the bands that I play with. But hopefully, in the future, I'll have piano under my belt.
That's good. And
Yeah.
like tambourine, you can't go wrong with that one. I like maracas as well. It's one instrument that
Yes.
everyone can play.
Right. And it has a good vibe to it.
Yes, it does, like Latin, Spanish.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice. And you recently released a new single called High Class. Can you just indulge to me and my listeners a little bit more information about this record?
Yes. So when I go out with my girlfriends, I feel I have a alter ego. I always dress very classy, but I wanted to create a song just basically talking about the experience of having a high class night out with your girlfriends. So you are in the mindset and the mood that you do not need a man. You do not need anyone else except your girlfriends and your best outfit to go out and have a good time and feel your best. So I feel like I captured that in high class.
That's amazing. And hopefully, some of my listeners can relate to the track. When you're
Yes.
out, with your friends, do you like cocktail bars or do you kind of like the kind of discotheques?
I would say in my younger years, I was more of the disco bars. And now I would say I'm shifting into more just cocktails and appetizers and, listening to a good jazz band or something along the lines of that.
Yeah, they seem to be really popular at the moment, especially here in the UK. Saloon bars, like Coyote Ugly, cocktail bars, lounge bars, live music venues as well. Amazing how the times do kind of evolve as you get older, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, that's amazing. And how would you describe your sounds on your new record, like the instrumentation?
I would say, in the short amount of time that I've been doing originals, I've really tried to find my sound. I am really from the countryside. So out here where I live, there's horses, there is, one traffic light. There's really not a lot where I'm actually from. But I also have those more soulful tones in my voice. Relating with R&B and pop music. So I really wanted to project that onto this track and I feel, it gives more of a pop hip hop vibe. But it's not so much that it can't be shared across all genres.
Yes, I'm with you because I did relate some of your material. This is a compliment to a bit of Iggy Azalea because she crosses over to electro, hip hop, then kind of the club beats as well.
Right. Yes, sir.
That's amazing. And how has High Class been received, from your friends and your family and like, your fans?
I would say high class has been received very well. Out of all of the original music that I've done so far, a lot of the compliments that I've received are "This is you." When we think of a song that represents Tisha May, this is a perfect picture of what represents me. So I feel High Class has really helped me, like I said, kind of find my own sound and help me get in the direction of what I'm trying to go in with my original music.
Nice. And has there been like a music promo video for it, whether it's like a lyric video or a music video which is shot on set?
Yes, sir. So I actually shot High Class at one of my favorite local bars that my girlfriends and I go to when we want to have a high class night. So that is out on YouTube, High Class, the music video. And I also was actually asked to perform at a masquerade ball. And there is a version of my song at the ball as well on YouTube. So kind of almost two different versions of a music video for the song.
Yeah. And do you feel that the music video captures wants to capture the viewer to see what the essence of the song is all about?
Yes, I think so.
Great. And that's out on all streaming platforms, High Class now.
Yes, sir.
Nice. And I just wanted to touch on your other material because High Class isn't the only song you've recorded. You've also previously released a single called Power Stroke.
Yes.
And can you just tell me more about this record? Because it has achieved like thousands of clicks on streaming platforms all around.
Yes. So my brother actually also is a singer slash songwriter and a music producer. So that was actually recorded with my brother. High Class was one that I wanted to do as a solo project, more to just really push myself and my limits and see what I'm capable of. But Power Stroke, along with Stay With Me, Pieces, those were all written and produced by my brother. So a family duo. He's kind of taken a break on the music scene. He's actually diving more into the production side. So these were all recorded in a studio. And eventually we would like to have a family business and, maybe own a studio and do all of this ourselves. So I've kind of taken a step back as far as doing projects with my brother because he's just shifted his focus. And really, right now, I am also kind of doing more stuff with live bands, hoping to not let my originals fall by the wayside. But I'm loving that live feel and getting that experience for my stage presence for my originals.
That's good. And it's good that you have like more strings to your bow, where why not do more than one thing?
Right.
Especially these days where like you have to be kind of versatile.
Exactly. Because like you said, the industry and how original music is perceived, it's changed so much. From the time I was younger and seeing things take off, maybe being played on the radio station versus now it seems like TikTok, social media, those are really what you get your exposure from.
Mm.
So it's been pretty cool to see, just the changes in the short amount of time while I've been, singing and doing music.
Yeah, because hip hop R&B as well. I play it quite a lot myself. Here in England, it's very well received in like, the bars and clubs, like 30, 40 years on.
Right. Yes, sir.
Amazing. And can you tell me a little bit more about Tell Me, which is an intriguing title, another one of yours?
Yes. So Tell Me was actually the first studio recorded song that my brother and I did when I first started doing originals. Everything outside of High Class was actually written by my brother. So I can't really indulge too much in those because those really came more from his perspective than mine. I would say I'm a little biased and Tell Me is one of my favorites, probably because that was one of my first. And out of all of those, I would say Power Stroke has been the most popular out of all that we've done. Maybe the beat. And we also have a cousin that raps on that song as well. So another family project that I think went over pretty well.
That's good to hear. And I was going to ask you as well, what was the experience of, recording Tell Me or any of your other songs in a recording studio, especially for, your debut visit to, the venue?
So I would say it has been awesome to see the progression As I was growing up, I never really had any type of vocal training. I just naturally had, the abilities. Until I got in the studio, I never realized how important it was to have good technique, breathing techniques, understanding pitch, harmonies, background vocals. So it has been awesome to see, the progression since I recorded Tell Me versus recording High Class. Within that time frame, I actually took vocal lessons at a school of rock in Louisville, Kentucky. So I did that for 2 years, and I worked personally with a vocal coach. And then I also joined an adult band there as well to get more exposure and experience. So it's been really different. Like I said, when I recorded Tell Me, I was very monotone. I was very nervous. I was very shy in the studio. Versus when I went to record High Class, I felt in my element. I was not nervous. I was able to find those harmonies. And, you know, Tell Me took a couple of sessions. High Class only took one. So it's been awesome to see the growth and, the experience getting better each time.
And that's what it's all about, artist development as well.
Right. Yes, sir.
Cool. And I know you've released single by single by single. Any plans to release like an EP, then maybe an album later down the line, or are you just happy, releasing music as you go along?
Actually, I co-wrote High Class with a lady. Her name is Hunter Lambert. And when we wrote High Class, there are people that you just get a vibe with when you're in music. And I feel like her and I collaborate very well with each other. We actually had a meeting this morning and we plan to work on an EP in the next couple weeks. I already have a couple of songs that are recorded, they just haven't been released yet. So we're going to add to that queue. And my hopes is to have an EP out within the next year.
Great. And what I do admire about like independent artists who like fund themselves as well, they do it their way.
Yeah.
They don't take any shortcuts.
And I think that's so important because, it's easy to get lost in what the media wants. It's easy to get lost in what the industry wants. And I think for me, the one thing that I really want to stand firm in is who I am as an artist, because it's taken me such a long time to find my sound and who I am as an artist. So I think being independent has been so good for me because, like you said, I'm doing it on my own time, I'm doing it my own way. And honestly, in the process of that, I'm finding myself as an artist. So even though it might be the harder route or the road, less traveled, I know anybody would love a record deal or backing. But to me, it's been nice to do it on my own and not have those influences of what other people want versus, what Tisha wants as an artist.
Yeah, good for you. And I'm going to ask you, who have been your personal influences and inspirations over the years?
So this kind of changes, I would say, depending on my mood. My parents are actually DJs. So growing up, I listened to all genres. But I would say today, on a rainy day here in the United States, Keith Whitley, so old country, Gladys Knight and the Pips for, R&B, maybe Ashanti in the early 2000s, also Adele. So I'm really all over the board because it's easy to box yourself in as an artist and say, I'm a pop artist, I'm a country artist. To me, I'm just an artist. This week I might have High Class as a pop record, but next week you might hear me on a country track because, to me, it's fluent. Art is fluent. It's always changing. So those are just a couple of my influences.
Lovely. I mean, on my Spotify playlist, it's such a mixture, and you just can't go wrong with a bit of everything.
Right, exactly.
And you mentioned you're a solo artist and you collab as well with like, some family members. Do you enjoy both aspects of that?
I do. Um, I would say, the greatest thing since I have been doing music is to really listen to everybody, their experiences, the things that they've learned along the way. And even though I'm kind of learning my own ways, it's still nice to hear those experiences and take away and just kind of have that knowledge because there really is no roadmap, when you're in the industry, when you're an artist. And so it's been really nice to learn things on my own and have that knowledge in my back pocket, but also take advice from people who have been in the industry longer, so I'm not always taking the harder route and learning things on my own. It has been very nice that people have been so courteous to share those things with me.
That's good to hear. And I can't believe where this year has gone. But does this year 2025 looking up for you?
You know, when I released High Class, it's been a couple months since I've released High Class. I was worried because as doing things on my own as a solo artist without a team, it was a lot. The music video, the studio time, recording the beat, recording the track. I was nervous for my first time. And I would say that 2025, even just outside of High Class, it seems like it's been the best year that I've had so far. I turned 30 in December. And, society makes you think that when you get older, it's a scary thing. But to me, so far, my 30s have been my best years.
Same. I can tell you, 30s are pucker, as we say here in
Well,
England.
good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to them.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful to hear. And where's best for people to follow you on social media, like emailing lists, official websites, streaming platforms, and so on? Do you have a favorite Instagram, TikTok,
So
even?
if you get on Facebook and search TESIA Mae for my music page, I actually have a link tree in my bio, and it will take you to all of my social media platforms. Outside of Facebook, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat under TESIA Mae 13. So that's my handle for everything.
Right. And finally, I always ask a question just to round off an interview with a kind of like a novelty question. Do you have like any party tricks or amusing stories you like to share?
So I would say probably the coolest thing would be when I performed at the Masquerade Ball, which was my first actual event performing High Class. Um, I sang the song once, and only my close people that bought and purchased a ticket to the Masquerade Ball had heard the song. It went over so well that they actually asked me to play the song a second time and perform it a second time. So I would say out of all my experiences so far, that has been something that's really stuck with me. Those people, they had never heard the song before. They just felt the vibe. And so that is such a cool experience because putting out original music is such a vulnerable thing. It's your art and you never know how it's going to be perceived by people. So I would say that experience and just seeing people enjoy the song, dancing, having a good time, that's something to think
Yeah.
about.
And
Yeah.
that's you can't beat an encore.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
Great. Well, all for me to do really is just like say thank you for your contribution on today's show. What I'll do is I'll put the link for your track just below here on my YouTube channel, and we'll get this played on my sister radio show as well.
Okay.
Thanks for joining me on today's show, Tisha May. Do check her
Thank
out,
you for
upcoming
having me.
artist. Great to have you on.